All right, let's dive right in. We're going to tackle a pretty radical idea today from Peter Drucker's classic, The Effective Executive. And it's all about the one resource you can't buy, beg, or borrow, your time. And here's the kicker. Chances are you're thinking about it all wrong. So, let me ask you this. You probably live by your to-do list, right? We all get that little rush from checking things off. But what if I told you that feeling of being busy is actually a trap? What if starting with your tasks is the exact wrong place to begin? And there it is. This is the simple, counterintuitive idea that really changes the game. See, the most effective people on the planet don't start their day asking, "What do I have to do?" They start with a much more fundamental question. Where is my time actually going?
This just blows up a huge myth in the whole productivity world. We're always told to plan our work, make a schedule, stick to the plan. But Drucker's point is brutally simple. If you don't have a clue where your time is really going, then your plan is basically a work of fiction.
Everything Drucker talks about is built on this one idea. And notice that word, responsibility. This isn't about being some kind of born genius. Effectiveness, especially for a knowledge worker, which, let's be honest, as most of us now, it's not a personality trait. It is a skill. It's a practice that you can learn.
So why this almost obsessive focus on time? Well, it's because time isn't just another resource on a spreadsheet. Not at all. It is in a category all by itself.
Just think about it for a second. If you need more money, you can go out and raise it. If you need more help, you can hire more people. But you cannot, under any circumstances, get more time. You can't put it in a savings account for later. You can't stretch a 24-hour day to 25 no matter how hard you try. It is the one resource that is completely, totally fixed.
And here's the reality that kind of hits you in the gut. Time is 100% perishable. Every single second that ticks by is gone, for good. Once you really let that sink in, it just creates this incredible sense of urgency about how you use it. Okay, so why is this concept of time so unbelievably critical for knowledge workers specifically? I mean, what's so different about the work we do today compared to, say, 50 years ago?
Well, it's because our work isn't like a factory assembly line. You can't measure our output in hours worked. Knowledge work demands self-direction. We have to aim ourselves at getting results. And to do that kind of work, to think deeply, to strategize, to have real conversations, we need big, uninterrupted chunks of time. A few minutes here and a few minutes there, it just doesn't cut it.
All right, so we've laid out the problem, right? Time is scarce, it's precious, and it's super easy to waste. The good news is, Drucker doesn't just leave us there. He gives us a clear, systematic solution to take back control. And here's the framework. It's so beautifully simple. It's a three-step process. You record, you manage, and you consolidate. Just think of it like a continuous loop you run to stay effective. But the most important part? It all starts with cold, hard data, not just guessing where your time went. Step one is the one you absolutely cannot skip. You have to log your time. And I don't mean trying to remember what you did at the end of the day. You have to log it as you go. Why? Because your memory, well, it's a famously bad bookkeeper. You might think you spent 3 hours on that big project, but the log will show the brutal truth. You were pulled into a dozen different distractions. You need the facts. Now, once you have that data from your time log, you get to put on your detective hat. This is the diagnostic phase. You're analyzing that log, and you're hunting for any activity that adds zero value. The goal here is to be absolutely ruthless in eliminating the waste.
And finally, after you've cut out all the waste, you're left with what Drucker calls your discretionary time. But here's the secret sauce. Don't let it stay scattered in tiny 5 or 10-minute fragments throughout your day. You have to consolidate it, group it together into large, protected blocks. That's where the real, meaningful work actually gets done.
So, when you're playing detective with your time log, what exactly are you on the lookout for? Let's go ahead and identify the usual suspects.
These are the classics that Drucker pointed out, and they are still so relevant today. Notice how many of these are system problems. Are you always putting out the same fire? That's a recurrent crisis. Is your calendar just packed with back-to-back meetings? That's malorganization. Too many people involved in a project? That's overstaffing. These are the red flags to search for in your log.
Now, to help with your diagnosis, here is probably the single most powerful question you can ask yourself. As you go through every single entry in your time log, just ask, what would really happen if I just stopped doing this altogether? And be brutally honest with yourself.
And the follow-up couldn't be simpler. If the answer is nothing, or you know what, nobody would even notice, then you have your answer. Get rid of it. Just stop doing it immediately.
The second huge question you have to ask is all about delegation. Look, just because something has to be done doesn't mean you are the person who has to do it. Scan that time log and hunt for tasks that could be done just as well, or hey, maybe even better, by someone else on your team.
So, let's kind of pull all this together. When you follow this process, you're not just tweaking your calendar. No, you are fundamentally shifting your entire approach to how you work. This is your new starting point.
And this is really the promise of Drucker's entire philosophy. Being effective isn't some magical quality that you're either born with or you're not. It's a discipline. It's a set of habits and practices that literally anyone can learn and start applying starting right now.
I mean, Drucker really said it best right here. Unless time is managed, nothing else can be managed. That's really it, isn't it? Your goals, your priorities, your results, every single thing rests on this one foundation. Time is the bedrock of it all.
So I really want this to sink in. Knowing your time isn't just one of the steps to being effective. It is the absolute first step. It's step 0. Everything else you do is built on top of this.
So we've laid it all out, the problem, the simple 3-step solution. You know exactly what you need to do first. So the only real question left is the one you see on your screen. Where are you going to go find your time? Thanks for tuning in.